Yep. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Supervisor Coyer.
Here.
Councilman Barber.
Here.
Councilman Carter.
Here.
Councilman Talaski.
Here.
Councilman Barron. Absent.
Okay, welcome to the public hearing for the budget. Purpose of this meeting is to hear any and all public comments on the 2026 Town of Dannemora budget. So we'll just dive right into it. All right, general fund. As you can see, this for 2026, 70 cents per thousand. The significant changes. We're going to use 128,650 from the appropriated fund balance. Our interest and earnings is up 38,000 to 88,000 that we'll be using for income. Sorry, got a hair in my glasses. Orsan sales are down 325,000 due to not renewing the sand sale contract with Alliance. But we have, in the past, we've used 400,000 from them in the income. We've got the 400,000 from them for this year, and we already have the remainder of what they owe us so far is another 138,000. So we have a lot, and they're going to be hauling again 3 more days next week, and then they'll be done. So it will most likely be in the 140 to 145,000 range that we'll have above from them that we can have access to next year. The assessor contract and the JCEO contract were up combined. It was a $7,000 increase. All the minimum wage hourly workers are going to be up 50 cents because the minimum wage in next year is going to be $16 an hour. No elected officials or employees got wage increases. Highway superintendent wage dropped 10,000. Dam maintenance dropped 40,000. Hospital and medical insurance stayed the same. Serial bond interest, there's nothing there. And hospital and medical, I'm sorry, that didn't mean to say stayed the same. It's 0, and serial bond interest is 0. So that's for general fund. We'll do this by fund. Does anyone have any questions about general fund? Okay. General fund, the B, which is everything outside the village, that dropped to 10,000 or 10 cents per thousand, and there was really no significant changes. The reason things drop, even though we are using the same amount of money in our budget, is because what assessments go up, then our per thousand rate can go down. Highway fund. In 2026, it dropped to $2.69 per thousand. I just want to point out a lot of that is because we have new equipment now. We're not constantly spending thousands of dollars fixing this old equipment. So it's what you have to do to maintain the fleet and not have to spend $40,000, $50,000 a year on maintenance. Significant changes, we're going to use $18,975 of unallocated funds. Miscellaneous revenue will be $10,000 based on expected sale of the surplus equipment, the surplus box and sander that we have. Unallocated insurance is up $10,000. Contingent account up $10,000. The increase in pay for the union workers per their contract, plus the increase in all the mandatory payments due to their wage increases, like retirement, social security, workers' comp, that kind of thing, is up, combined up around 10,000. Machinery equipment is down 13,000. Machinery contractual is up 13,000. Machinery contractual is the line that when we rent equipment, so when we rent the bulldozer to put up the sand, we rented equipment from the county sometimes, or we have the county help, we do some rental equipment there. And then next year, instead of buying a new tractor with the big mower that can cut back the trees, we'll rent that, and it'd be a lot cheaper. Was about about 8,000 to rent it, and to buy a unit like that is about 180,000.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot more sense to just rent it each year. Medical insurance is up 10,000. Our installment purchase debt is 35,000 because, and that pays for the 3 pieces of equipment that we are paying on time. They call it a lease, but really you pay for it for 5 years, and then the 6th year you pay $1 and it's yours. Equipment line is up 20,000, and the salt purchase is down 20,000. Any questions on highway fund? And I just want to say, those are all the taxes that we can control, that the board can control. Then we get into the stuff we can't control. Lime Mountain Lights is up, as you all know. If you've looked at your NYSEG bills lately, they're up. So based on what we've been paying this year, we had to raise that to 93 cents per thousand. Chateauguay Lake Water Control District, we get that contract from Belmont. That's down to 14 cents per thousand. Fire districts. Lime Mountain Fire District, contract with them is down $1.08 per thousand. Dannemora Fire Department stayed the same at $1.25 per thousand. And EMS is up to $2 per thousand. And just to put it in relative to how it was at one point, we were paying combined $4.16 per thousand. So we're still working with the village to get things straightened out, but it's a process, but it's going in the right direction. And then the non-tax items in the budget. Lime Mountain Sewer, O&M rents are down $3 to $498, and the debt service is down $128 to $320. An explanation for that: last year, we weren't sure what kind of financing we were going to end up with. All the grants were in yet, all the financing from the EFC was fluctuating because the way that they provide their grants is they pay a balance of what the other grants. So as we got an additional grant verified, they dropped the amount that they were going to loan. So they will not stay at, say they started at $1 million, and if we got more from somebody else, they dropped that amount. So we just weren't sure how that was going to turn out, and fortunately, we overestimated. So 320 is what the debt service will be. So a full unit now is 818, and the vacant lot is 320. And you add those together if you've got a full unit plus a vacant lot, or the second half of a house, or how that works. Dannemora Sewer, down $50 to $350. The water districts, Lime Mountain Water, decreased $65 to $235. Dannemora Water decreased $200 to $200. And last year, we had to increase both of those due to the water line breaks that were in both districts. Knock on wood, this is what we're going to do for this year, barring any water line breaks or anything that happens prior to being billed. This should be what it is. And Ledger's Water's down $31, $6.90. And the more people we get on that district, we're going to be adding another one. We already added 2 in the last year, and we'll be adding 1 more for next year. So, and so we're doing good on that one. So to wrap that all up, so general fund, to recap, is 70 cents per thousand. The B fund, 10 cents per thousand. Highway, $2.69 per thousand. Line Mountain Lights, 93 cents per thousand. Line Mountain Fire, $1.08 per thousand. Dannemora Fire, $1.25 per thousand. EMS, $2 per thousand. The Chateauguay Lake Water Level Control District, got that one right, 14 cents per thousand. And it's, we had a 6-cent increase from last year, which I think is pretty good because, as you all know, insurance went up 17%, pay's going up, the cost of everything went up significantly, so we trimmed in some places. The user fee synopsis, Line Mountain Water, $235, Line Mountain Sewer O&M, $498, Line Mountain Sewer Debt Services, $320, so full units $818, Ledger's Water, $690, Dannemora Water, $200, Dannemora Sewer, $350, and every user fee decreased. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple. Is there anywhere that this is broken down in actual dollar numbers? Because you throw it out there as like a 269, you know, it went down, you know, per thousand. How much is their actual budget? Is it, you know, 400,000, 4 million? What number are we looking at?
Okay, so highway is, okay, so highways, do you want what the taxpayers are paying or what they're?
No, it's like in general, you say, if you back it up a few screens, it says, or even right here, you said highways 260 general fund 70 cents, it's a decrease of 3 cents or up 3 cents from last year, but there's a number associated with that, a total number of how much that money is, right?
Right, well, there's a total number, plus, there's what the taxpayers are gonna pay, and then there's the total budget. I'll give you an example in highway.
Just because the tax rate went down doesn't necessarily mean that the number isn't higher because of the evaluations, your assessment goes up, that number.
Yeah, so okay, so the way you do your budget, you have all your income that you expect to get for the town, and then you have all your expenses. So our income, we take it from several places. So the taxpayer part of highway is $633,600. That's what the taxpayers are going to pay. So we have transportation services that's what the county pays us to do the roads. That's $82,750. Interest and earnings on the money that highway has in a money market is $6,000.
Okay, so let's back up to that
33,600. Okay.
Okay, how much of an increase is that from last year?
25,000?
Okay, so the actual amount of money we're spending is higher, even though that the rate is lower, is what I'm trying to. This isn't broken down anywhere for, you know, on a line item, like other towns do, they line item everything.
Well, yeah, you can request a copy of the finished product, so, you know, this will be the budget, the final budget.
Right.
And so tomorrow, you could, or however long it takes Becky to put it online, it'll be online. And so you can look at it, because she puts the budget online.
Yes, I was just trying I wanna see it, like, if last year our total budget was, $2 million, and this year, how much is our total budget? How much more money are we spending this year than we spent last year?
Right.
Basically is my question.
Frank, I can email it to you.
Oh, you don't have that number tonight?
Oh, we have it.
Well, how much are we, I don't understand your question, how much more are we
Last
spending?
year, last year, say our budget was $2 million, that's how much money the budget said we
Okay.
had. What's that number this year?
Talking the whole entire town?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the full budget, which will be, let me see. Well, break it down by the total tax amount. The total budget is, I have to do math. Because I do this the way the county wants it, and they don't ask us for that final
I was
number.
looking at other towns, and they line item everything out, giving you total expenses of everything.
Well, yeah, this does too. You just have to do your own math when you,
Yeah, I don't have one.
but I can, let's see, so it's 130, wait a minute, I have something on my desk. It's 1,300,000 and change, and last year it was 1,200,000 and change. It's less, it's about a $28,000 increase.
From last year.
Yep.
And comparison to other towns in the county, where do we stand on our budget size? Are we on the lower end of our budget, or do we spend more money than other towns?
I would say we're on the lower end, but we never compare ourselves with other towns, because every town is so different that you can't compare yourself to another town.
Okay.
Saranac, in fact, Saranac, their general fund is $2.40 per thousand, where ours is 70 cents per thousand.
Right.
Their highway budget, because they have 86 miles of road plus what they do for the county, their highway budget is over $1 million.
Okay.
Ours is,
So
you can't really compare yourself to another town because every single town is different.
So in turn, that you take away $10,000 from this man over here, in turn because we don't have as much, we got less roads and less this and less that, okay? But you didn't take away money from anybody else on this board because you got less money to handle or less this to do or less that to do. You kept all those wages the same. You didn't change
Well,
the
Frank,
tax.
we had this discussion in my
Yeah,
office.
we did, but I've had some time to think about it, and in turn is, you were singling out one person that they can't even vote on the matter. You singled him out, but you didn't touch anybody else, because these counselors make as much, if not more, than anybody else in any area, and our supervisor makes as much, if not more, than other people, but yet we have a smaller budget than anybody else. You get my point?
I get your point. It's not true, but I get your point.
It's not true. But it's not true.
Well, for instance, I know when you came in my office complaining about the drop in the wage
Yeah.
and that's why you're not running, because you won't accept
My
39,000.
work schedule is.
But anyway,
out of-
okay, I'm talking now,
Yeah. I hear the-
all right? So you were talking, these other towns get 60, 70,000, and I explained to you why, and I explained to you that it's
I
relative.
understand.
I'm talking now. I explained to you that it's relative to what other people in that town make. For instance, 70,000, yes, Black Brook makes 70,000. Their supervisor makes 32,000. Their board members make 12,000. So it's all relative. So if you want us to all make what those make, you better expect your tax bills to double, because we don't have the tax base that these other towns have. I explained to you. We have the smallest tax base in this county.
But yet.
But yet you want us to pay, you want us to spend what the other towns spend because you think that that's what it should be.
I didn't say I think you should spend that, you were cutting. I just suggested that you cut equally because you said, well, we're not as big, we don't have as much. So in turn.
But
why-
these other wages are already down lower than anybody else's.
More than Saranac. I looked it up today. 25, there was 5,900 per person. This one is 6,500. So you're paying more. And that's just Saranac. I just picked them because they're our close neighbor. But if you look out there, it's relative, it's about the same around through,
Mhm.
but in turn, we got less. And nowhere in this budget did I see that $10,000 that's going to these lake associations. Where is that money coming from?
That's always been in our budget as the environmental line.
Didn't see it anywhere on there.
It's part of
But in
it's
turn,
part of
you're
A
gonna give
fund.
$20,000 away with nobody, no questions asked, here you go. And that $20,000 is about 75% of his wages, your wages, and all their wages combined.
And
With
it-
no questions asked.
And once again, Frank, you're wrong.
How am
Once
I wrong?
again, you are wrong. They give me, in fact, I have it on my desk right now. Mary provided me with an extremely detailed report.
This is the first year that
It
they've
is
done that.
not the first year. We get that from her every year.
You don't get it from Shady Lake, do you?
We get a report from them.
Where they spent the money?
Yes.
Because I would heard that was part of the deal, that wasn't gonna happen this year, because we'd give them money with no accountability. That's gonna change.
No, we said that we were going to oversee them because we don't think that they're using the money where we want to use it. But if you want to discuss this, bring it up with next year's board. I mean, this is the budget I'm putting forward. Next year's board can make any adjustments they want. But
It just seems to me that we throw $20,000 out there to these environmental groups, and no questions asked, not a lot of oversight going on to it, but yet that's 75% of these wages of these people out here, and you want to nitpick all of that. It just doesn't seem right.
well, I know you're not happy with the fact that that went down.
I don't really care, Debbie.
Well,
I'm just
obviously
trying to
you
tell
do care, or else you wouldn't be bringing it up.
I'm caring for the whole people, Debbie. Because what you're trying to do to this thing is defund it, just like every Democrat does. When they don't want something, they defund it. And that's what this town is doing. They're defunding that position, and this board knows it because they're the ones that put it up for vote last year. They want that
All right,
position
that's
gone.
enough. That's enough.
Can you hear me now?
That is enough. You have
I'm
made
speaking my
you have
piece.
made yourself clear. You can keep your voice down, and you can act professionally.
I
in here.
am acting professional.
All right, that's enough. Mary?
Setting aside the fact that we have every year, the Lake Association's provided reports, and setting aside the fact that the taxpayers in the lake community pay a disproportionate share of the tax base compared to our property as a share of the tax base, it's twice. So it's in the town's interest to support the health of the lakes. It's in the taxpayers' interest to support the health of the lakes, and it benefits the town as a whole. Now, I don't know what beef you have, but I'm telling you that we are extremely accountable. Okay, that was my comment. I have a
Thank you.
question. I have a couple
Okay.
questions.
Yep, sure.
Okay, so when I look at this, how does it relate? We're bound by a tax cap, right?
Mhm.
So an increase in the tax cap. Do all of those, when you say this is a 6-cent increase from 2025, is that related to the tax cap?
Yes, so everything that's underneath the tax rate synopsis, with the exception of Line Mountain Fire, because they're a district and they have to answer to their own tax cap. But everything else is included in the tax cap. And even though, and we had a 6 cents increase, and the tax cap this year was 1.002%. Which I know some people stay below their tax cap because they had bigger budgets. So the way they do that is I get something from the Office of the Comptroller telling me what, based on last year's numbers of that column, I get told what we can have in that, to meet our tax cap. And it was 1% higher than last year. Well, that's ridiculous, when everything went up at least 5, 10, 15%. So we did go over our tax cap this year. But as we said last year, there's no penalty for going over your tax cap. It doesn't affect the taxpayers. There's no, they're looking at your taxes and whatnot. In fact, they're talking about doing away with it for municipalities, because when they initially put it in place, it was to keep people from overtaxing their residents. from putting in a bunch of, you know, oh, we're gonna buy, you know, 10 new trucks, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and it was on the taxpayers' back, so they put the tax cap in, and the first couple of years they had it, it was 2 point something percent or whatever, and it did cut back on all those municipalities that do it. And you have to realize, this is a statewide thing, so our counties up here were not the ones who were run amok. It was the counties downstate, you know, Albany and below. So,
Okay. Would it be possible to bring up, what's the B fund?
B fund is the things that we do. So what's in the B fund? For instance, our code enforcement officers in the B fund. It's things that we do that the people in the village don't pay for. So it's outside the village. Highways also outside the village, but they have their own account. So B fund is a code enforcement officer because they have their own. Some of the stuff Becky does falls under the B fund. It's a very small amount, that's why, but when we were audited, maybe 6 years ago now, they had told us at that time that we should have moved those things into B fund out of A fund, because the village, people that live in the village, because they have their own code enforcement officer, shouldn't be paying for our code enforcement officer. So it's a very small fund, but it's a requirement. They basically just split out the things that were repetitive that the village was already paying for, and so we shouldn't be charging them for hours. And
Could you go back and bring up the general fund? I'm sorry we missed it because we came out.
okay, the general fund, I can't go back but I'll tell you what it is.
So the environmental line is what I'm specifically interested in. It sounds like you.
It stayed the same. It stayed the same as last year, the environmental line. So what we had discussed was that forming a committee that basically would oversee the $10,000. You know, where's a little bit tighter rein on the $10,000. We know what it was spent on. We have an extremely detailed report from you. We have a report from the Shazy Lake Watershed Initiative on where theirs went. We had issues with, I mean, they spent it honestly and completely, but who they hired to do the milfoil gathering, harvesting, did a really poor job. So we're going to tighten that up to make sure that they're harvesters, that you know, if they're not qualified, if they haven't gone through training, if they are not doing things right. So that's the tightening of that. It's not that they weren't spending it like they said they were spending it, but just need a little bit more oversight on it, because this year, in the past, we've had some milfoil that, you know, you've seen washed up here and there, but this year it was an enormous amount of milfoil washed up and went over the spillway. So that's what kicked that off.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Yes. Could you speak to, about the Village of Dannemora regarding the EMS? I'm assuming you're still in negotiation for a contract?
We have a contract. They're
And the value, what's the bottom line?
So the contract is for, this contract is for $443,398.33. And we offset it with their appropriated fund balance. We offset it with $50,000, and we put a second line there for general repairs, and put money into general repairs because we're taking care of any maintenance on the ambulance.
In Dannemora, the bulletin board is still asking for EMS, new hires. Have there been any new hires, any applicants? Anybody know of that? Has there been anyone that might join EMS?
I'm not
Well, I think there's like one or two that they just recruited, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah.
And are they more amenable to putting more staff in Lime Mountain instead of just
So
two days a week, 8 hour
right
shift,
now,
whatever?
right now we're working on trying to get 50% right down the middle. So we're in Lime Mountain 3 days, at least 3 days a week, and then whatever. I know the supervisor is actually trying to push that they stay up there all winter, and then down in Dannemora for the summer. I don't know. We got to touch base with that.
We're working on it, yeah. It's,
They went from nothing to 2 days. So right now they're up there Mondays and Wednesdays,
Yes, everybody knows that.
right around.
The running joke is, you gotta get sick, make sure it's
Yeah.
Monday and Wednesday.
So we've been fighting with them at the at our board meetings with them about response time. Like, it's okay for us to wait 15 minutes, but the other way around, it's like a big deal, so we've been
Right.
trying.
Cause we always had 30 minutes, 30 seconds, a minute, and they were out the
Yeah.
door.
So,
On the road.
in a real world, that we could afford it, we'd have a crew up there and a crew down here if we could, but you're talking,
well, and it's not just a matter of affording it, it's personnel.
well,
Well,
that
that's
too.
what I'm
can't
asking,
get
That's
people,
everywhere.
are they getting anyone?
I mean, not
Throughout
enough
the
to,
county.
not enough to staff to,
Yeah.
both
And
places
throughout
at the same time.
So throughout the county, do you know, like CVPHO is, they got,
Well,
More
they're
funds
paying the
and
top
all
dollar,
this.
so,
yeah,
They all bounce around. When somebody gets fed up in one place,
yeah.
yeah,
move on.
right, yeah,
And
yeah.
it all depends on what these people want too, like, if they just want a part-time, they're gonna go to CUPH and get the top dollar, you know what I mean? Because they're
Yeah,
paying the best.
Understood, or
money
more
right
so,
now.
yeah. How much, all right, total budget 443, whatever. What percentage or how much of that is coming from this
The
area?
town,
That is our share. That's the town share.
443,000,
Hmm.
and we're getting 2 days of service.
Yes, but I mean, that's,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna,
I agree.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Nobody agrees.
But they come the rest of the time, just from further away, right?
yeah.
I mean, you gotta look at it though, 40% of the last year that LMAS was there, it was mutual aid. I mean, I still have all the paperwork that shows that, they were only there 60% of the time, and it was mutual aid for 40% of the time. So if you're waiting for mutual aid 40% of the time, you're gonna wait the 15 minutes anyway. So, I mean, I have every single one of Roger's, text messages that says, no staffing, from this date to
And
this
that
date.
was, yes,
That's
understood, Debbie, but that was because they were gleaning our people, staff, CVPH was
Well,
taking
I
away
know,
Morrisonville
but
because there
that's the
wasn't
same,
staff.
that's the
They
same
still
thing that's
are.
going
It's
on.
It's still happening.
I mean, it's
Yes,
still the
yeah,
same thing.
exactly. Yeah.
And they've made being an EMT so difficult.
I know it,
And,
I know.
you
That's like
know,
even Morrisville chewed up a lot of the county and they have a hard time stopping.
I know, I've heard, I'm
And
on the
it's-
scanner, I hear when, they're asking, call Tonell 2-3 times, maybe 4, need personnel.
yeah, it's,
There's a lot of things, trying to look at, like, maybe doing an EMS building in the middle of the town eventually. Just trying to get wheels rolling on that and just,
and then there's another cost, you
yeah.
know.
It's-
I
You
have a
gotta-
question
you
in
gotta build a
general
building.
to that. If for some miracle reason we were to get 3 people, 4 people, enough to staff Lime Mountain, do we have the funds to staff, to pay for that? If we were to get enough EMS?
I don't think it would really cost that much more, because, I mean, it would be,
It all depends what you did.
extra, who you staffed it with. You're
Yeah.
gonna staff it with a
Do
paramedic,
Paramedic
or
or
you're gonna staff it with a
basic
a
and a
basic
driver.
and a driver, and then, hook up with the paramedic that's sitting in the village, or vice versa. I don't think it would really be,
We're talking probably $50,000 to $100,000.
yeah, it wouldn't be a significant increase, I don't think, but again, we just can't get the people. I mean,
If you could get the help, if you could put like one basic and a driver up there, and then as long as there's a paramedic or something on, you can work it. It'd work good. But like say, getting help is,
even
you
drivers,
can't even get drivers.
yeah, I mean, you getting
But we don't
volunteer.
have the money sitting for that, though, do we? like, if we were to get the help, where would we pull that money from?
What?
From that budget?
From,
From
yeah.
that $400,000 budget?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if, say tomorrow, or let's say in February, 10 people
Yeah.
said, I want to be an
Whatever
EMT,
reason, yeah, whatever reason.
and, oh, great, we can staff up there. This is our budget until the end of the year. Now, next year, you know, they'll do the math and whatnot, and the budget would go up. If
So
we're,
we wouldn't be able to pay them people.
well, we would, well, the village would. It's their contract.
Yeah.
I mean, we're contracting with them. We don't have control over them, but if we're paying this much for service from in 2026, and they suddenly have the manpower where they can staff up in Lime Mountain and in the village, they're not gonna come, well, they can't come to us and ask us for more money,
No, they can't
because,
come to us,
but they'll-
in terms of, they don't have the money in their coffers, they're not gonna aggressively seek anybody either, because they don't have the funds.
well, I think the funding would follow you know, if they could get people. Because like I said, I think they have set aside in their budget, you know, because they have contingency funds for if their ambulance goes down, or, you know, how much overtime, because it actually would be cheaper for them a lot of times, as you know, like doing overtime. Sometimes it's cheaper to hire a whole new person than to keep paying overtime, because, you know, that adds up a lot. So that's why I'm thinking if they could have the personnel, it really wouldn't be a significant amount that it would increase. You know, it'd be those people's wages, but
How well do we pay?
20,
I don't know,
I can't remember what they said at the last
they're,
meeting.
what the heck were they? I think they're, so it's CVPH, Morrisonville, and I think they're right under Morrisonville.
I mean, we're
county.
paying well, better than a lot of areas, but not as good as the bigger, you know, CVPH and Morrisonville are a lot bigger, and they,
Champlain too, at Champlain Russell's Point.
yeah.
What is the budget, working budget for the village of Dannemora regarding EMS? How much are they putting into?
So the per thousand's the same right across the
Yeah.
board.
Well,
So-
actually, their per thousand is higher. Their per thousand is
because we-
225 because we supplemented ours.
So they're a little bit higher.
But, so they're a little bit higher, but I mean, it goes by population.
Lot less people.
We're about 2/3 to 3/4 of the total amount, because it's the whole town of Dannemora versus the village. So, you know, we pay the lion's share.
Mm-hmm.
So, because and you have to do this ad valorem. It has to be based on taxes and the per thousand rate, because that's been fought. We fought it again. You know, why am I, you know, just because someone lives in a $500,000 house and somebody lives in a $50,000 house, the $500,000 person's paying a lot more for EMS than they are, and you're getting the same service. But by law, it has to be like this,
Understood.
and, you know,
All right,
so-
thank you.
you're welcome.
We'll
Anybody
continue
else?
to still fight, believe me.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
we-
It's an uphill battle.
It is, and,
We argue with them every time we meet, so.
you know, and we push for a county-wide, you know. In reality, the county should be administering this program so that everybody gets paid the same. You know, they should say, okay, every EMT is gonna get paid, you know, if you're a paramedic, you're gonna get paid this much, no matter where you work. If you're this, and, but the county is like, oh, we don't want it.
Because like Morrisonville, Champlain, they're large and they're a money-making corporation.
Yeah, well, actually, Morrisonville is a nonprofit. I thought they were, but they are a nonprofit. I was
Yes.
surprised.
But it is still, they're making money. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Well, yeah, and then,
Yeah,
Take like
it's a business.
CVPH and their contract with Keysville and Pruitt, you're talking $1 million contract.
their contract with the state, although they don't pay.
Now,
The state doesn't pay them.
What's Saranac doing?
Saranac's, they're a year to year, I found this out, they're a year to year, they're not locked into a 3-year contract,
Right,
and they get basic coverage, so they get 2 basic EMTs from Morrisonville.
okay.
And that's all just because they fight with the village.
Yeah, got that.
If we have a couple personalities that retire or go away.
If they would have
then-
stayed in the real world, it would have been an awesome program. We would
Mhm.
have had full coverage up in this
I
whole,
know.
but
Anything else? Okay, well, we'll close this meeting and move directly into, although let me shut this off.